This is the S&P 500 Spider ETF SPY 1 month overview reading for the month of July 2026. It's currently June 25th, 2026, 12:53 a.m. Eastern Time. SPY at the time of this reading, $733.24, that's USD. And the shuffle video for the July reading was created on June 16th, 2026 at 11:13 p.m. Eastern Time. That's this video playing for you here. Now guys, if you're new to the channel, there's a couple important things I'll tell you right up front so that you understand how to use the channel for the maximum benefit. What we're going to show you in this video, or what we're going to go over in the video, will be the day-by-day chart behavior for the month of July for SPY. We're going to give you the timing of the highest high for the month, the lowest low for the month. We're even going to give you one of the best trades that we see throughout the month. It's important to understand, guys, that this is SO meta-analysis. This is not tarot. It utilizes tarot in both the classical sense, but also in a completely new cutting-edge way that had never been. It's like a secondary layer of tarot. In addition to the tarot, all sorts of other esoteric sciences and extrasensory perception techniques developed by myself are utilized in this, as well as astrology and lots of other things, guys. It's SO meta-analysis. So what's important to understand, guys, is that the day-by-day sequence of chart events that we're going to go over for you, these cards going left to right across the screen in a monthly reading in SO meta, they're what we call timeline cards. In a monthly reading, they represent about 24 hours of time of for a trading day, basically. But not each card's energy will necessarily line up perfectly with 24 hours of time, and for that reason, in some cases, you'll need to give these monthly readings plus or minus a day or two, or maybe even 3 of wiggle room as far as the timing. Usually the timing's on point, but there are cases where wiggle room is needed, and in those cases, what's important to understand is that the sequence of chart events is the main prediction. The sequence of chart events will remain accurate regardless of if wiggle room is needed at some point within the reading. Hopefully that makes sense. This is the main reason why I do not recommend trading this information alone. It took me years and years to figure out how to do this, and then once I figured out how to do it, it took me even longer to figure out how to make money utilizing it, because it's a completely different way of trading. Guys, if you're serious about trading this information, I will show you how to get the necessary services, the game-changing services at the end of this video to help you trade this stuff successfully. If you insist on trading this stuff alone, guys, make sure it's paper trading. You know, use it as proof of concept, because it's a lot more difficult than just knowing up and down and high and low. And that's what the Discord channel, the live Discord and all those channels and that stuff are for. So I'll show you guys how to get that at the end of the video. Guys, before we get rolling on this, I also want to point out there's a couple of new game-changing layers of data that we've added to SO meta-analysis, and I'm going to show those to you as we progress through the reading. Well, the first is cross-ticker thematic congruencies, CTTCs, and I'll explain those in the video, as well as we now have astrological sentiment charts, which will, in theory, help us to predict the magnitude of moves throughout the month. With that said, guys, let's get into it. This is July, so right off the bat. Oh, and before we do that, guys, I want to make sure that we cover the June reading so that you understand, guys. I'm not claiming to be right all the time. I'm not like the Yoda of the stock market. What I've developed is an entirely new system of analysis, and why it works so well is because it's brand new and it doesn't follow any of the rules of trading. Technical, like it's completely different. Everybody's following the game book that's designed to manipulate. This is something brand new. And if you ask me and many other people who've already been utilizing it, it outshines technical and fundamental analysis by a landslide. So this is not the best reading, this June reading, although in the Discord, for those of us that are subscribed to the Discord, the early access subscription, as I always explain, when things go awry in the reading, I'm able to, in real time on the Discord, keep people up to date by showing them where the human error is. So we had a human error where we expected a low over here on the 3rd that was almost backwards. The month isn't over, so I say almost backwards because I expect the high later on in the month. But what we saw after the fact is this double X here. It's kind of in a very precarious area on the board, making it difficult to read what day it's for. Is it for the 25th? Is it for the 11th? It ended up representing a lowest low for the 11th, and basically we were like a day off, if you will, which happens sometimes on the timing, like I said. But the sequence of chart events remained the same. We had this huge decline, significant decline on the 5th, right? I mean, a lot of things went right about this. We just kind of, at the start, our expectations went awry. So it's important that you guys understand these readings are guides to my expectations. It is in real time on the Discord that you get the most reliable and valuable information. All right, so with that said, guys, let's get it. Oh, I do expect us to be hitting up on a high here towards the very end of the month. So provided that works out, it won't be like completely inverted. It'll just be slightly off. But the guidance has been pretty sound aside from the original expectation. And you'll never see me bring down. That's a pretty bad reading for my performance. And one thing that's important to me is transparency. So you'll never see me bringing down bad readings. We leave all our readings up, bad or not. It's there for you to see. All right, guys, so let's get into it. This July reading, the overall theme or chart behavior is a significant move to the upside. Everything is going to be on the scale of a multi-day chart with one-day candlesticks unless otherwise specified. So we've got this big move on a multi-day scale. It's likely out of oversold territory, and it's a big move, especially looks like towards the end of the month. There may even be like a breakout move to the upside there. There's an important peak on a one-year chart scale. The behavior around the highest high for the month of July, we have a sideways fluctuating decline that precedes a rally. This is the type of card that when you see it in the high significator position, it's indicating very bullish behavior because the decline from the high offers opportunity to open a long position, which infers that we're going to have a revisiting of the high or higher in the not too distant future, and that's pretty reliable. Behavior around the lowest low, we've got out of a decline, a big move from the bottom of the range all the way to the top of the range, more supporting evidence of a big move towards the end of the month. My sense is that we've got a highest high thus far somewhere around the 8th. This was really difficult, guys, especially when I pulled the NVIDIA July reading into play. They follow very similar patterns, but the timing slightly off between the two. In any case, there's like a high somewhere here around the 6th to the 8th, most likely a highest high here around the 8th. I have question marks there though, because it's probably like a highest high thus far, meaning that we fall from it and then eventually we end up at higher price levels at the same high, the same levels as this high or higher. And my sense is that it's probably a lot higher, but it could be the same high as earlier in the month. And that high is going to be somewhere over here around the 23rd to the 27th. There is some indication of it being on the 29th, but relying on that is very, very risky because we've got a strong possibility of a sharp decline between the 27th and the 29th there on the 28th. And I wouldn't want to ride out a sharp decline and then hope that I can regain my profits on the 29th. It's a much smarter move to just exit the long position before that sharp drop, right? And we're going to talk about that in more detail when we get into the end, towards the end of the reading, so stay tuned for that. All right, guys, we're going to get into the day-by-day sequence of chart events. Remember, in some cases, you're going to need to give the sequence of chart events wiggle room. This is why I recommend that you have, if you're serious about trading SO meta-analysis, you get on the Discord, and I'll show you how to do that after we give you one of the best trades that we see. All right, so here on the first, we've got a brief peak that's easily missed, followed by a decline through multiple support levels. There's a peak at the end of the day with a sharp decline, like on the cusp of the first into the second. We've got a failed attempt to break through key resistance on the second, followed by a decline through key support. And there's likely to be a resistance level highlighted here on a multi-day scale that's important that we decline from and return to. So we're probably declining from it on the first, returning to it on the second, although it could be declining from the second, returning on the second or something like that. But I think it's probably the first, the second. There's some trade opportunities there that I would discuss on the Discord. Holiday on the 3rd. Happy birthday to the nation and also to myself on July 4th, guys. It's my 45th birthday, so a big one for me. I think it's the 250th. It's some sort of crazy big important one for the U.S. as well. Interesting. In any case, if you've been holding off on those rule of karma payments, the 4th's a great time to pay back that karmic debt. All right, so let's continue. On the 6th, we've got... All right, so we've got a lot of price change indicated on the 6th. There's a prominent peak on a 1-month scale there, and a lot of price change into and or out of an important support level on a multi-day scale. There's also probably somebody speaking early in the morning or over the break. What they're talking about it will probably impact the market most likely, but what they're talking about should not be relied upon and trusted. So that's important to remember. Also a Magus card trade opportunity in there. On the 7th, we got a decline through multiple support levels. There's also a prominent peak on a 1-month scale. An important trough on the 8th with a big breakout move around the end of the day on the 8th or into the 9th. Big breakout move to the upside. And probably a peak or, like I said, a high side thus far, somewhere around the 8th or the 9th. We have a crest that turns over, our peak or crest on the 9th that turns over, or excuse me, that we decline from through multiple support levels. And then crest turns over on the, or rally turns over on the 10th, creating a crest. It looks like that peak, there's a peak there around the cusp of the 9th, 10th. So a little hard to read, but we'll see as we go. On the 13th, an important technical price level on a multi-day scale, on a one-year chart scale minimum, an important technical price level is highlighted here on the 13th. What I mean by technical price level, important technical price level means that when the price meets it and breaks through it, it's like a strong indicator, and a lot of people jump in. Or if the price meets it and reverses, it's a strong indicator, and a lot of people jump in or jump out. It creates a lot of price change, a lot of buy and sell behavior based on it as a strong technical indicator. We've got a cash out opportunity towards the end of the day, and it looks like we may have a very sharp drop into a lowest low thus far around the cusp of the 13th. This light blue line or arrow here is something that I posted about. This is one of the two new data layers that we've added to SO meta analysis. This light blue directional or arrow directional indicator, what it's doing is indicating a cross ticker thematic congruency, meaning that when I look at a July reading of other stocks that I've looked at, they all seem to have a very similar kind of directional theme going on here towards the end of the day on the 13th. So now I'm able to mark that off as a cross ticker thematic congruency, or a CTTC. This is this is going to be super helpful, and we're going to come to rely on these for added moments of certainty. That's the theory, but it seems to hold true so far. In any case, new moon on the 14th. We've got a lot of price change, probably out of a trough and into the upside early in the day on the 14th, and there's 3 crisscrosses back and forth through the same price level on the 14th. The third cross is usually to the upside, confirming a bullish trend. The 15th, a sideways fluctuating rally preceding a decline. And I believe what I've indicated with this light blue is a cross ticker congruency. It's the same card on the other ticker, on the NVIDIA reading that I did basically for the 15th. So a sideways fluctuating rally preceding a notable decline, probably into a trough towards the end of the day on the 15th. It could be a trough midday on the 16th. But out of that trough, a huge move to the upside, pushing the upper end of a range higher, and a breakout move to the upside on the 17th. This is part of the reason why this is one of the locations where we may have a lowest low. When you take into account what the card for the low significator, what its chart behavior is indicating. All right, then we go over to the 20th. This is most likely where we have the lowest low for the month, but I probably left out, there's 3 locations where the lowest low could be. It's very difficult to determine. It could mean that we see the lowest low more than once, but my sense is that probably the lowest low is here on the 20th. It could be on the 2nd. It could be on the 14th, 15th. They're more likely to be prominent troughs that stand out, but the 20th is my best sense. And in real time, as we move towards it in real time, obviously, if something changes in my expectation, I'll let you guys know on the Discord. What we've got is a prominent trough on the 20th and a big move to the upside, followed by a full retracement back down. Then CTTC again on the 21st to the upside, a rally increasing with momentum moving forward into the 22nd, where we have erratic behavior back and forth through the same price level. In the midst of that erratic behavior, we revisit a crest or a trough or both that were recently past opportunities. We've got a prominent peak on a 1 month scale taking place on the 23rd, probably a highest high thus far, where we have this big move to the upside and then a retracement back down. It's sort of like a pop and chop with a big move into a highest high thus far, most likely. And then sideways rotation along key support on the 24th, another form of, well, this is more of a cross-ticker congruency, not a thematic one, but just a plain cross-reading congruency, meaning that this card appears in the same place on the 24th of the NVIDIA reading as well. So sideways rotation, looks like we've got a highest high or a highest high thus far towards the end of the day on the 24th. On the 25th, an important technical price level highlighted early in the day. Looks like we come down over the weekend just a little bit, and there's an important technical price level highlighted early in the day. What this card is indicating is very likely a highest high on the 27th, although it could have been the 24th or it could have been both. But we have a rally into key resistance on the 27th, followed by a decline back down abruptly after meeting that resistance, decline abruptly back down with a full retracement and some passive point at which the rally into the resistance started. There's also indications of a big move out of a oversold territory or a big move to the upside. So maybe that we drop with the CTTC here towards the end of the day, and then we spike back up maybe right around the cusp or the end of the day or overnight or something like that into a peak. We have sideways rotation on the 28th that ends with a fast sudden move higher, but somewhere in here in the 27th, 28th, this unicursal is very, very likely indicating a very strong decline on a 1 month chart type of scale. If it's not and we continue higher or something like that, what it's indicating is an important technical price level that we should mark off on our SO Meta charts, because it'll be utilized in future predictions. And the SO Meta charts are something, TradingView charts with SO Meta predictions drawn onto them. That's also something that you get as part of the early access subscription. I'm going to show you to get in just a few minutes here. So we've got sideways rotation ending with a big move to the upside, a fast move to the upside. That's also another CTTC. A rally on the 29th offers some opportunity and likely turns over into a decline. Now, like I mentioned, there is possibility of the highest high being here on the 29th, but I would not count on it by any means. I would not hold a long position hoping for a max gain on the 29th, because it could be very disappointing. There's a possibility of a sharp drop there, and whether or not we would return all the way back to the high, the chances of you holding that long position in the midst of that drop are unlikely. So don't try and pull some rookie move like that, please. On the 30th, we've got a crest that we sell off from down to and through support. Once we're below that support, we do a U-shaped reversal and break through that price level again to the upside to reuse it as support. We've got a breakout move and a CTTC, a breakout move to the upside, CTTC, around the cusp of the 30th and the 31st, probably early in the day on the 31st. And there's a decline on the 31st that offers opportunity to open up a long position or close short positions. This is probably the trade that I'll talk about with you guys here between the 29th and the 31st. There's a prominent peak and a prominent trough within close time proximity to the 31st. When they're stacked on top of each other, sometimes they're the same day, sometimes they're like a day or two from each other. So you'll have like a peak on the day, and then the trough was like 2 days earlier, and it's like just a straight move into the one to the other or something like that. But time will tell. The preview for August, a resistance level that will decline from and return to in the not too distant future. When we look at it from the scale of a 1 year chart, there's definitely a sharp drop involved in the July high. It looks like we've got a high towards the end of the month, and there's a peak, a prominent peak and a prominent trough on a one year chart scale towards the end of the month. We also have this cross-reading congruency, which is the strength card for the late July card on the 2026 reading, is appearing as the low significator card in the reading. So this could be indicating that the low and the high are both towards the end of the month, and that we go from a low on the 20th, into a lowest low on the 20th, into a highest high on the 24th through the 27th. Now, for those of you that are trying to determine price levels and magnitude of moves, that's always been kind of the weakness of SO Meta. It doesn't mean it's impossible. It's just not something that you could do until recently that could be done regularly. There's certain parameters that would need to be fulfilled in order for us to do it successfully. But now we've got this additional layer of data that I developed called astrological sentiment sketch, and basically what it is it's showing me the strength or magnitude of sentiment and in what direction that sentiment is leaning throughout the month of July based on astrological influences. So, right, the sentiment is bearish. Once we go through this dotted line, it gets more and more bearish as we move towards the third, right? And we've got indications of a low around the second, third. It may be that we miss out on a low because the astrological energy is actually on the third, and we don't have trading on the third. So that could happen. And then it goes bullish. It becomes minorly bullish, becomes more bullish. And so hopefully people understand that this is not a chart prediction over here. This is magnitude of sentiment, and what it should help us to do is assist in our engaging what the strength of a move should be on any given day. That's something that's in experimental mode. I believe it will be working quite well, but it's something that we'll be referring to regularly on the Discord for accuracy. So guys, if you're interested in the Discord, I'm going to show you in just a second. As far as one of the best trades, so here at the end of the month, guys, this looks like a really solid trade. When you see a Princess of Wands and a Princess of Cups within close time proximity to each other, it usually is a good setup for a trade. So what we've got is this rally on the 29th that offers the opportunity to open up a short position. And you would look for like this move out of like a big move out of a drop, and then it turns over again, right? On the 29th, you want to open up a short position in the midst of the move higher. Probably scary to do it, but that's when you want to do it, is when it's scary. And then you want to hold that short position into a trough that could be on the 30th. More likely it's going to be on the 31st, but if there's a solid gain on the 30th, you just take it on the 30th. Rule of thumb when trading SOM analysis, always go for the first expected exit. If that exit fails, there's usually a backup or an alternate scenario. And only when the first exit fails should you go for the second. You want to get in and out as fast as possible. This is how you make money regularly. And with that said, guys, that's SPY for July 2026. Guys, the way that you get these game-changing services, and we dropped the prices substantially because we wanted to give more people access. We were doing fine with these services at like $500 a month. But, you know, like we felt like we priced people out, and we've got a second form of income now, so we dropped it. Everything got dropped by 50% or more. So the way that you get early access, you go to our website, tarotfortraders.com, hover over order now, click on subscriptions. Early access is $75 a month. It gets you access to all of our SPY Discord channels. So basically it gets you SPY alerts, SPY chat, where people ask questions all day long about SPY in the market. It gets you all of the SPY media as it comes out, with text about the highest highs and the lowest lows and all that stuff. And then in addition to SPY, any public videos that come out on YouTube will come out on our early access video links channel before they come out on YouTube. There's also content that comes out on Discord that never even makes it to YouTube. Recently, most of our content, in fact. But that's all part of early access subscription. What else you get is a link through this SPY alerts channel. There's a link that takes you directly to a live trading view chart of SPY, where we have all of our chart drawings, keeping you up to date in real time and assisting in those trades. Guys, these are game-changing services. $75 a month. Are you kidding me? You make that back and like a ton in one trade. It's ridiculous. Even if we're wrong on a trade, like most of the trades are going to be right. So you come out okay unless you do something foolish like bet everything on one trade. You know, just never do that. Even if you're right, like the world can happen. You know, you could get in a car accident, power could go out. Like, just don't do it, guys. It's just foolish. With that said, guys, I'm going to leave you with one thing. The whole purpose of the channel is to transmute the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. We do that by following it through on the rule of karma for the channel, which is a honor code agreement between myself and those of you utilizing this channel for personal gain. It's threefold. So the first part of the agreement, 5% of all profits from this information should be donated forward to one of these charities, effectively transmuting the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. 5% of all profits should be donated back to the channel through one of these links as a way to say thank you and express gratitude. Gratitude begets more gratitude, my friends. And it leaves you with 90%. Third part of the rule, make sure to reinvest that responsibly or spend it out of love. As long as you follow those rules, makes you an angel investor of the channel. The universe is going to send it back to you tenfold for following through. I'm going to come say hello and get to know you for being somebody of great integrity. With that said, guys, blessings to all my angel investors. Good to be back in recording mode. And I'll see you guys on the next one.